Good morning, or at least I think it's still morning. I pray that your Thursday was a wonderful day where you had spaces or places or times during that day when you were able to just reflect on just how powerful you are, just how unique you are, just how wonderful you are, just how gifted you are, to be able to practice some radical self-care where you were able to catch a glimpse of yourself in the mirror or take a selfie and say, love you. We're continuing our conversation about change, and yesterday we were talking about, or beginning to talk about, things that can affect our decision to put into action the change that we've decided we want to make. But before I go into that, I do want to say that if you have begun to put into action and then you fall back, as they say in substance abuse language, you have a relapse. You go back and do that very thing you said that you were attempting to no longer do. That's okay. Some people believe that relapse is a part of recovery, simply because we're human. Even if we take a step back, we can still continue to take steps forward. So that, my point is, if you relapse, if you do that very thing, if you said that you weren't going to eat any sugar during the week, but you messed up and ate a bunch of cookies or whatever it is, you said that you were going to put some distance in that relationship, but you felt so lonely you gave in and connected. You felt like you made a decision you were going to save money or change your relationship, but you messed up and saw something you wanted and you went on ahead and bought it. It's okay. You just pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and start all over again. And it's not even starting all over again. It's starting from the place where you fell back. And you can continue. There was a song that was popular some number of years ago. I think it was Donnie McClurkin, "We Fall Down, but We Get Up." And the point is to keep getting up, to keep striving, to keep making those baby steps. And so yesterday we talked about an acronym, HALT. Don't become too hungry, too angry, too lonely, or too tired. And yesterday we talked about becoming too hungry or too thirsty. And meaning that when you become either too eager or you become too lonely or you just want this thing so bad, that this change to happen so bad that you begin to make poor choices because you want it by any means necessary. You begin to pursue this new goal without thinking about, can I maintain this over the long run? Don't become so anxious. Be comfortable with one step at a time. Be comfortable with one day at a time. Become comfortable with baby steps, because you did not get yourself into this situation all of a sudden. If this is something you've decided you need to change, it's something that's been happening for a while. It didn't happen all of a sudden. And so the idea that it's going to change all of a sudden and you're going to be able to sustain it is probably kind of naive. So today we're talking about don't become too angry. And we have talked about anger before, and if you've missed those videos, you can go back. But we've talked about becoming too angry. The idea is anger is an emotion just like every other emotion. We will become angry. But for some of us, we internalize our anger. And when we internalize our anger, we turn it inward. We begin to get depressed. And for some people, their depression is manifested in going back into those very behaviors they said that they want to change. For some people, when they become too angry, meaning too angry in that their expression of their anger has gone to an extreme, they begin to reach for something that makes them feel comfortable. In a lot of instances, that's the very thing that you determine that you wanted to change. For example, I remember when I was in my active addiction, And I would drink and drug if the sun was shining. I would drink and drug if it was raining. I would use if things were going well. I would use if things weren't going well. No matter what was happening, I always rewarded myself with changing my mood through a substance. And when I made the decision and began the action plan to become clean and sober, I was challenged when things did not go the way that I wanted them to go. My go-to would have been to get a drink. My go-to would have been to find a joint. My go-to would have been to find somewhere to change my mood. And what I had to remind myself, and this is the key, to remind yourself when that's your go-to, when things are not going well, when you're really angry, when you can't figure out how to make this thing work, is to remind yourself why you are making this change. To remind yourself, in my instance, yes, if I would have had a drink, yes, if I would have smoked a joint, it would have changed my mood. I probably would not have been as angry. It probably would have, to some degree, at least initially with alcohol, mellowed me out. But it would not change my circumstance. And I would not change the situation. And what I knew instinctively was that I needed to change the things that were driving me to drink and drug excessively. And so I would invite you, when you find yourself becoming very angry, is to journal, to write down what is happening. What was happening right before you became angry? And then ask yourself, what can I do to change the situation? Not what can I do to change my mood, but what can I do to change the situation? And if your response is, well, absolutely nothing, because I have no control over this, what I'm angry about is something I have no control over, then I would invite you to write about that, to write your feelings of feeling not being able to control, for feeling anger, as opposed to reaching for that very thing that you said that you wanted to change. If it's something that you can control, then I would invite you to take a couple of deep breaths to calm and center yourself, and then begin an action plan of addressing whatever that situation is, but addressing it in a way that is balanced, in a way that is healthy, in a way that will not throw you completely off course. Because that's what a lot of what's happening is. We find ourselves in situations we don't know how to respond. We respond in extremes. So the goal is for balance. So we're going to end today. I would invite you all, as some of you are off of work because of the holiday. Some of you have many different feelings about the 4th of July, given all of the situations that have occurred across this country, including COVID, including issues of injustice and people being treated unfairly by people in authority, by looking at what is the significance of this day for who you are, depending on your context. Does it have a different significance if your context is that you are a person of color who was raised in this country, or if you're a person of color who was raised in another country, or if you are a person who is of European descent and has been in this family, has been in this country for however long? The significance of this day will vary from all of us. I am not going to offer an opinion one way or the other, because I'm just here for healing and restoration. This is a complete no judgment zone, but I would offer each and every one of you, wherever you find yourself, that you practice and focus on staying safe. Staying safe means to be able to, if you're going to go out around people, to wear a mask, make sure you wash your hands, practice social distancing, particularly now as this, tends to be the time up until 2020, where this was a big weekend for celebrations and cookouts and gatherings and all those things that now can come possibly with some dire consequences. So I just invite you, however you choose to acknowledge or not acknowledge this holiday season, whatever you do, you like it, I love it, but I implore you to stay safe and to do that intentionally on purpose. I will talk with you on Monday. I invite you to, no, I'll talk to you tomorrow because tomorrow is Saturday. See, I get my days confused. So I will be talking with you tomorrow. And if I don't, now last Saturday I did not do a video. And I did not do a video because I was practicing self-care. I was tired. So we'll see what tomorrow brings. But anyway, I will be back with you either on tomorrow or on Monday. Love you all. Bye-bye.